Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to a virtual version of the tangent. Uh, so if it sounds weird, that's why somebody forgot to book the podcast room.
I
And
wonder
by
who.
somebody, I mean me. So that's my bad. But we have an
Yep.
I didn't
interesting,
even know they had podcast rooms.
yeah, we have a
Yeah.
podcast room in the
That's
knowledge lab.
crazy.
It's
That
very
voice
handy.
that you're
I thought
hearing.
the knowledge lab is where you make crafts.
And then they have a little podcast room on the
Yeah,
side.
yeah, yeah.
Are we doxing ourselves?
No,
Is it
I
a
think
Me and
everybody
CJ
knows
aren't
that.
allowed to curse.
Oh, I'm
The
sorry.
guests are allowed to
Oh,
curse, right?
shoot.
I know we are.
Yeah. But that voice you're hearing or the face that you're looking at is our guest for today. By the way, I'm Vipul. I was
You're
gonna say
not
I'm
CJ.
CJ. I wish I was CJ, but I'm Vipul. And this is Annie, who is a dancer. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Annie. I'm a sophomore in IBE, and I'm currently the junior treasurer and a member of Dance to Excess Purdue, which is an urban street style dance team on campus. And
Yeah.
I'm here today to talk about Timothée Chalamet, I guess.
Oh,
Here we are
Timmy.
here. Oh,
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 Timmy, what have
Timmy.
you done? But last episode we teased something coming up for the Rivet. Unfortunately that's been pushed back to after spring break. Um, but Annie's a part of it. So if you want to hear
Yeah,
more from her and a bunch of other dancers on campus, pick up an edition of the Rivet on the 23rd of was it March? I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
where we are right
23rd.
now. I
That's the Monday,
Time
yeah.
means nothing to me. Yeah. Okay. So as soon as we're back, yeah, it'll
There'll
be
be some
awesome.
awesome
But
dance stuff. So I guess this is a sort of preview to that,
it is a
right?
preview of that. Yes.
nice.
But dancing's been on my mind. And of course, I'll get right to it. I'll explain the
Yeah.
situation. So,
Yeah.
Timothée Chalamet of Marty Supreme fame, of
And other
course.
things. Yeah.
Sure. He was speaking with Matthew McConaughey for some like variety event, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he I forget what exactly he said, but he said something like, I don't want film to end up like ballet or opera, stuff that nobody cares about. And then
Mm.
he
Stuff you
felt
have to
bad.
keep alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Hmm.
felt bad. He rescinded it. And then he was like, "Ooh, I lost like 14 cents or something, 14%, something like that." And then
Hmm.
people, the internet blew up, mad at him, mostly mad at him,
Uh,
some defending him. And it just got me thinking a whole lot about art. Like I usually do. I think about
mm.
it a lot, I
Yeah.
guess, but I don't know. I have a lot of
Yeah.
thoughts, so maybe I'll let you guys tell me your initial reactions to that stuff.
For context, I'm off Instagram for the month, so I don't know what any of this is, and
Oh,
I don't
that's
know
right.
like the context or like the response or anything. So I'm gonna need you guys to like break down
Mm.
because I didn't know he rescinded it until you said it right now. Like, did he
It was like
apologize?
live though. It was like he'd realized what he said, kind of took it
Oh,
back.
Yeah, he was like, I'm sorry to all the dancers and opera singers out there, or something. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just watched the clip.
yeah.
Yeah, he said like no disrespect. That's what he said.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, it kind of sounds like he disrespected them though. I
It
don't
did.
know.
And to me it did seem like disrespect.
It's
Uh
really funny that I saw like a headline that was like Timothée Chalamet disses ballet and opera as irrelevant while promoting his new movie about ping pong.
yeah, that was an Onion, I think, headline or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
Or
and
that
it's
was
like
SNL. They made a joke. It was like
yeah, and it's like I thought he would get it. You know what I mean? Like
I
I
thought he
thought
would
he'd
get it too.
understand. Like see, people have 180 on him right now, right? And not like it sounds like fair from the outside looking in, but like you know me and you we've been trying to get Tony Chalamet on the podcast.
Yeah, we
oh,
have. That's right. Oh my God,
wow.
I totally forgot. This is what
Right?
this will be his first stop on the apology tour.
Oh my
Exactly.
God.
We're gonna be like, if you want to apologize. There's a lot of people at Purdue who don't take kindly to what you said. But we were like pretty big fans of him because we thought like I'm speaking on behalf of both of us,
Go
but
ahead.
we thought I feel like, at least on my end, that he was someone who really like was like kind of our generation, but like really got art like as a serious thing and like all kinds of work, right? Um, and so it's really surprising, like that he said. I feel like ever since Marty Supreme came out and he's been doing like that press tour, he's been kind of like there's like a new persona that he's been taking on where he's like, oh, I'm gonna just say whatever I want. Like I'm like I'm being me finally. And so like he was always kind of like on the edge of it because like before he was like this kind of like you know, twinkish, like really kind of like soft spoken. Can I not say that? I feel like that's what everyone describes him as. I feel like, but then
It's
now he's
crazy.
like, oh, I'm just a kid that was raised in New York, and so like I have these other influences. But I feel like he got a little bit too real, and then he was always gonna like say something like, you know what I mean? Like you can only like you have to you always have to have kind of a filter if you're a celebrity. You
Yeah.
can't ever be fully off the cuff. What do you think?
I agree. I thought the same. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know that much about Timothée Chalamet. Like I haven't watched Marty Supreme or Call Me by Your Name.
CJ's heart just broke.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Loves
It's
energy.
okay.
I'm not a fan of him and I wasn't a hater of him. He was just like kind of there. I knew he was in Lady Bird, but I watched that for Cyrus Ronan. Um, so but yeah, I definitely thought he was one of those more like artsy kids, kind of like alternative in the sense that he would appreciate it more, like alternative theater kid.
Yeah,
You're part of theater, you wouldn't diss those pillars of theater
right.
that are like opera and ballet.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that was kind of surprising. I heard stuff about Marty Supreme being like this, whoa, what kind of a show is this? So maybe, yeah, that was him just like projecting a new persona.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely a plot twist.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people are mentioning, yeah, that his like I think his mom and like sister are like dancers and like he obviously came
Yeah.
up in theater,
Oh, wow.
which is
Yeah.
why it sort of now I think the only reason like this is getting as big as it was is that just the way he said it was rude. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
it was just weird that he would say it like that. Uh,
Yeah.
but obviously you can maybe see where he's coming from in the sense that, those things are unfortunately not as big as they once were.
Yeah.
Like I think it was
Mhm.
more common at a time for people everywhere to go to like a ballet or an opera or a theater, and they've kind of become almost niche at this point where it's kind of like a wealth, like a class thing almost. Like if you're
Mhm.
not interested in ballet or opera, it almost means nothing to everyone. And I'm not trying to dig my own hole here, but I think you know what I mean in the sense that it's just not everywhere the way movies, TV shows, even like paintings and stuff like that. Those are still you still see those everywhere.
Yeah.
So I understand that what that he means is like he doesn't want film to become something that like only a few people can appreciate.
Mhm.
But it's just I feel like at a time artists need to be like together and not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you couldn't tell, CJ is a film major. Like
Mm.
but like I
yeah.
mean the reason we kind of like brought you on is because like I mean I know ballet is like pretty different and like you said like there's like a class element to it but like I feel like with all dance like there's maybe like a shared thread there like you can kind of relate to like ballet even if you're not doing ballet. I know like during our interview you said like you did traditional Chinese dance and things like that. Like do you feel like maybe the crowd or like the popularity of dance has like gone down at all? Like do you feel like he's right when he says that it's like, a niche thing now?
Um, I definitely have to think about that one because while I did do traditional Chinese dance, I also did ballet
Oh,
when I was growing up.
oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna say, oh, I loved ballet. It was my favorite
Right.
dancing in the world. Obviously, I'm like more hip hop now. But when I did ballet, it was mostly so to build my foundation because ballet really is just like the foundation of dance. All those techniques that you have to learn, like what first position is, what second position is, like turning, all that stuff is in ballet, and it was really important as dancers to have that. Like a lot of elements in classical Chinese dance, we have to train ballet for hours and hours to be able to do well. Um, and I think it's really interesting because I'm a urban style dancer, like hip hop, and you really don't see that much of like ballet in hip hop. And it's like people pin them as opposites because they're like, oh, ballet dancers can't do hip hop, and it's really hard for hip hop dancers to do ballet. Because they do like stem from different origins, right? Like ballet is more like French origins, whereas hip hop originated in like the streets of New York City, like in the Bronx. And so they do have different origins, but you can't separate how they both tie into like the foundations of dance. Like hip hop has those basic building blocks that make it hip hop, and so does ballet, and they do intertwine together. Like there's technique to both sides, and even if it's like one can be considered more niche than the other, I really don't think that matters. It's more like an outsider's point of view because when you're a dancer, you're not really dancing for the niche aspect of it or like the popularity of it. It's because you like actually love doing that, love building the foundation and expressing yourself through that art form.
Yeah. That's a really good point that I don't really think I thought of. Like,
Yeah.
you're not doing it for the popularity, you know? And
Right.
like, I mean, this is maybe like a bit of a tangent, but like, I just want to talk about dance generally. But like, do you feel like your ballet informed the way that you do hip hop? Like, do you think that do you see like your ballet training maybe come out in like the way you do hip hop at all, or is it just completely separate?
I definitely do think so. It might seem like very different opposite ends of the spectrum, but when you're like choreographing or you're doing any type of dance, you really see what lines you create, and lines are a big part of ballet. Um, you see like which positions flow into other positions, which is another huge part of ballet. And I know a lot of the members on my team too have had ballet origins or ballet foundations. And I think when I'm watching them dance, you can kind of tell too that it kind of flows into the way they approach hip hop, and the fact that like how like kind of methodical they are to how they approach certain moves, like how precisely they're hitting a certain angle. I think it definitely correlates.
Mhm. I think we saw that, me and you, CJ,
Yeah.
like when we watched them dance. Um, Going back to like that the we're not doing it for the popularity thing, and I want like both of you to answer this because I feel like you're a film major and you're like a dancer, so you guys are like the artists here, and I feel like you guys are maybe more tapped into that side of things. But like, how why do you think like, because for me like I don't doubt that Timothée Chalamet does what he does because he has a passion for it, but like it's weird that he doesn't see the same thing in like people who do dance or like
Yeah.
this or like sing or do opera or whatever. Like, instead of putting it down, I feel like he as an artist should realize that like no matter what form of art it is, you gotta like you like even if you're not an opera singer yourself, you gotta like help keep the arts alive because I feel like again, not to get political, but like if they're cutting funding for like art students, that's acting too. Like, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
not just
Mhm.
hitting
Yeah,
like
that's
the
everything.
ballet. They're not just like, yeah, like every like art suffers together. You know what I mean? Like, why do you think that he thinks of like that kind of art as separate from his kind of art?
Yeah, I don't know. It's and again, I understand that like they're film and dance and stuff, they're at different levels, I think, just objectively, but it's just the dismissal in his voice that I think I don't know. I don't know why he had to like it would be different if he was like, I hope film doesn't go the route of blah 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 because that stuff is great and people don't appreciate it as much. Like if he
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that, people
Exactly.
would have been like, oh, and it would have made sense.
yeah.
But What did you ask again? Sorry.
I feel like why do you think he doesn't like see other artists as like his peers?
I
You know what
guess
I mean?
film, just unfortunately, as much as I hate it,
You
it's
hate
much
film?
more of a business
Oh yeah, yeah.
than much of the other arts
Mm-hmm.
are, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very much in the mainstream. And kind of like when I
Mm-hmm.
was saying, like I'm somebody that's into film, and so I know a lot about it and keep up with it. But even people that aren't into film keep up with movies and keep up with
Yeah,
shows.
yeah.
But I think he realizes that that's not really the case with stuff like dance and with opera. Like unless you're like into those things, you're pretty much out of touch with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there might have been a point where that wasn't the case, where people were a little bit more cultured and a little bit more informed about other forms of art. But I think just the business side of things have really kind of ruined, like
Yeah,
film.
true.
Like I think it's reaching a point where like the business side of things is either gonna take it over or it's gonna combust and we're gonna like have like a renaissance of
Mm-hmm.
film because the business part of it, I mean, in that same conversation with Matthew McConaughey. I don't know if it was the same conversation, but a similar one. They're talking about like AI, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like no other art form besides like visual art is really having, well, I guess music too, but I mean like in those business conversations, that stuff comes up.
Yeah,
You can't AI a dance, which is nice.
right.
You
Yeah,
can't you can maybe AI an opera, but again, not really. Like
yeah, yeah.
so the business side of things doesn't really apply to those things. Like those have
Mm-hmm.
their fans, whereas film can find its way to you through the
Yeah.
means of business. And that's why, boo, I say to that,
Mm-hmm.
boo. And I think
We
Timmy on his run should be like, here's a bunch of ballets and operas that you should go see. And it'd be awesome if, because of this, like people got more interest in it.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
admit, I hadn't been too informed or even interested in opera or ballet. But now I'm like, yeah, as an artist, I want to support all the art that I can because even if I've
Mm-hmm.
never been interested, I respect it and I appreciate it, what it adds to the
Exactly.
overall
Mhm.
Exactly.
community pool of
Yeah, yeah.
creativity.
Yeah. Like we kind of talked about it already. I feel like I don't know if I asked you this question. I might have. But like all the dancers that we talked to, I kind of asked them about like that idea of like you can't AI dance, right? Because like
Yeah,
the action of doing dance is the art itself, right? Like the action is the art, like as opposed to like film, the action is like whatever, you're acting and then you're holding a camera. But the art, like what we refer to, is like the finished product of like what that like builds up to. Whereas with like dance, like sure there's like a choreography that you're like doing, but
Yeah,
like when you say I'm like a dancer and that's like you're referring to the art, like it's just the movement, like it's the
yeah,
fact, the
yeah.
idea of doing it, right? Do you feel like and like one of the things I think about, like theater isn't completely removed from that, or art or film isn't completely removed from that because a lot of that comes from theater. And you could say the same thing about theater, right? Like the art of like that shifts the focus of like the definition of art from like the film itself to the acting, right? Because so much of like theater is choreographed, right? Like,
Hmm.
and he did theater, like Timothy did theater, and so like maybe he's not dissing all dance, maybe he's just talking about ballet, but like I don't think if you can talk about ballet like that, I don't think you have like much respect for like all dance. So I'm like so confused as to like I feel like someone in theater should know the value of like
yeah,
an art form that requires you to be there in person and like value the present moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think it's kind of the phenomenon you see where some members of like a community, like the creative community, like kind of diss other members of the creative community, um, to like pander to more of the mainstream crowd. Um, like you see that in like everyday life, like even like minorities who should be like standing together in solidarity, they will, in order to like move forward themselves,
Yeah.
they might dis like the other members of that community. And it's really like disheartening because um that doesn't really that doesn't move forward um the community at all, and you're really just harming yourself. Um, and so I kind of thought it was like that, where he was like, oh yeah, I guess opera and ballet aren't as popular in a sort of a niche community, so I'm gonna pander to the side of my audience who agrees with me. But in reality, he's just like dissing himself. Because if you can't like respect like this form of art just because it's not as like popular as your form, you can't really respect like your own art, I
Yeah,
guess.
true.
Yeah. No, I think that's really interesting because that is a thing I do notice in like marginalized communities, art communities too, where it's like you feel like you're so lost in a crowd that is already undervalued that you got to find a way to stick out as best as you can. And usually what that is through conflict, which is why you see a
Yeah.
lot of bands be like, we make great music, but we don't like the way they make music. So we're gonna make a song making fun of the way they make music. And the same
Mhm.
goes with like art, with like books. Like, I don't like your book. So I'm gonna write a book making fun of that. And it becomes like a whole spectacle because there's like fighting and conflict when I do think I agree that it's like reductive. I don't think anybody really gains from that because you have your 15 seconds of fame and then everybody goes back to how they were before, respecting or not respecting either side. And
Hmm.
so that's why I think we need to unification.
Yeah.
True, so
Artists
true.
unite, team up. Yeah,
Artists
yeah,
of the
peace.
world. Um, I was also gonna ask about like generally, because I mean, I guess you're like a business student, right? But you also do like art on the side.
Mhm.
Do you feel like generally speaking, I kind of feel like the arts or like art students generally are not like are kind of looked down upon in a weird like especially in a school like Purdue where like the
Yeah.
focus is like STEM or whatever.
Mhm.
Obviously Timothée Chalamet did go to Purdue, but like worldwide, it kind of feels like right now, like because of like just capitalism, I feel like it feels like if you're not doing a serious, like I
Yeah,
put serious in quotes, like major, like you're not studying something like like useful, like on a practical level, you kind of look down upon. And I feel like that's like the case with like all art. And so like, you talk about like unification of like artists, like I feel like that's just so much more important now, right? Because like you guys are being erased, both like in terms of, like the funding that you get, like actually like real life, but also just kind of like the respect. Like I know you mentioned like we used to be like our artists used to be so much more like not like dignified or like they were looked at as like the upper crust of like society at a certain point. You think about like the Renaissance or whatever. There was always a kind of like they always had a place in society that I feel like at least in the US now there's not really a place. Um, so it's like I feel like it's really important for artists of all kinds to stand together because like I think we all I say we I feel like see I feel like I'm artists too, you know what I mean? But I feel
Yeah.
like there needs to be unity in sort of like because they're all bargaining for something for like the right
hmm
to be taken seriously. And so I don't think it's for like I agree with what you said, like nobody gains from this.
yeah. Talon,
I
you can go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna
There you go.
say, yeah, that's a really good point, and I like how your point that you made earlier like ties into that, where out of all the art disciplines, film could be considered the one that's most like um has the most potential for profit,
Mhm.
and so because of that, it's more like accepted. If you tell someone, "Oh, you're majoring in art," they're like, "Oh, so you're majoring to be homeless." It's easier to say, oh, you're majoring in film. People will assume you have a chance to lead a more stable life because it's more intertwined with business and being able, like, could be intertwined with marketing, for example. And so maybe people respect it more in that sense. It's definitely more um like a profitable
Mhm.
art form. And so that, yeah, that might be why.
I've like
Yeah,
never thought about that before. Like just like the idea of like the kinds of art that we consume is informed by like how profitable they are to like the people that
yeah,
make them. Like the things I love is like film and music. right? Like even books, which you can reproduce and like, are accessible and are profitable, they require like more effort on your end. So I'm not as big into that. And I'm like now I'm like thinking like, wait, the more effort that's required of me to enjoy a certain art form, the less into it I am. And I'm like, because you could go see a dance, right? Like that's all it takes. Like you buy a ticket and you go see like a performance or you go see like an opera for that matter. And I'm like now we're like realizing because my roommate is also a dancer and we were like she was showing me videos of like people dancing. I'm like,
Shout out Aslan.
shout out Aslan, who was supposed to be here.
And I know him.
She knows him. This is crazy. Every dancer here knows each other. But I was like looking at it, I was like, this is so entertaining just visually. And I feel like if people could find a way to market it, it would really have a resurgence. But then I thought, like, why do I need to think like that? Like, I feel like you kind of, as a person, need to make the effort because that's how you respect the art form. Like, you should make the effort to go because that's how you keep art alive. Like, even just going to the theater, like for film or for theater, that's how you keep it alive. Like, you pay a little price, you get out of your room and you
Yeah.
like go somewhere and you make an occasion of it. And I'm like, I think we need to like I'm realizing that now, like as you were saying it. Like I have not even thought about this,
I
but
was having
like
a crisis.
I'm like realizing we need to reevaluate the effort that we put into art and like how that influences what kinds of art we consume. Like we need to it needs to be a bigger deal. Like you're always saying, go to the theater and like, actually make an event out of it. And I'm realizing how important that is. Like just
Yeah.
regardless of what medium of art.
We've got
Yeah.
10 minutes left.
Oh, perfect.
So,
It's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel that it's definitely an effort, a conscious effort you need to make, but I definitely see how hard it is because of how late into capitalism we are. Everything is ingrained in our minds of how we can make profit off of
Yeah.
something. Like film, how am I gonna make this into a big like money making franchise? Books, how am I gonna sell this New York best-selling book? Um, like songwriting, how am I gonna get billions of streams on Spotify and have fans pay to attend my concert? And it's really how like money is ingrained into every single thing we do. And the more tied into that the art form is, I guess the more respected it is. Um, I think dance is one of the harder things to like make a profit based off of.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you feel like that's a good thing or bad? Like, are you happy that that's not like it hasn't been monetized and like diluted in that way, or do you feel like bad that like if you were to go dance professionally, that it would be harder to like make money or make a living out of that?
I think it kind of sucks because people put more money towards other art forms because they like enjoy it more. I feel like dance is like less popular and it shows through the way it dancers make money. Because like even in small things, like when you go see America's Got Talent, they give golden buzzers to the singers, but like rarely a dance team. Dance teams like perform behind singers in concerts. They're like the backup dancers. Um, and so yeah, it's really hard to tell, honestly. That's a good question. I have to think about that. Um,
I'm having so many revelations right now about
Yeah.
like how we
It's just,
undervalue dance. I'm like, oh my God, like you're
it's
right.
just
Like
kind of
we
like
don't value dance enough.
yeah.
when there's like a demand for something like there was with film, like there's with books, like it's easy for someone with money to come in and promote that. But the
Mhm.
second that the people with the money start to tell us what we want, it becomes easier for them to keep doing that and sort of get it in a way
Mhm.
that's easiest and most compact, which is how you get
Yeah.
like, blockbuster formulaic movies. It's even with books, even with songs, chart toppers,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
manufactured stuff like that. Um, and that's why I think every good artist, every good creative, and I'd hope every person, but I mean that's a stretch. Every good artist should seek out other art. Like it's what you have
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
No matter how inconvenient, no matter how inconvenient it gets. If you look at like the best filmmakers, singers, dancers, all those people, they'll be reciting poetry, naming their
Hmm.
famous favorite paintings. They'll be
Yeah.
naming favorite books, songs. Like these people are well cultured in all aspects and find inspiration from all forms of art because like
Hmm.
that's just what you do. Back before it was like super monetized, like you could
Yeah,
consume
yeah.
everything easily and authentically, but now things get diluted because of money. They need to be marketable. Things get
Yeah,
shoved away like dance op like interesting stuff that just isn't marketable, so it gets left in the shadows when it really shouldn't. And
Yeah.
so if there's like a theme to this and like a response that we have to Timmy,
Do
look for the
better.
art, seek it out,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
seek it out. Like if you're one of the people that were upset, go to the opera, go to the ballet. Like yelling
Hmm.
at them's not going to do anything. Like I genuinely
True,
do want to
true.
try to go see an opera or ballet at some point. I probably can't soon,
Yeah.
but
But I mean, even just going to like a
right
2XX
here
or
at Purdue, you
right?
can see
Yeah,
people
yeah,
dance.
shout out.
exactly. I feel like yeah, no, for sure. Like I think honestly what it is like I feel like dance we've allowed it to become too highbrow for people. Like how like even myself, honestly, like when we were watching you guys dance, like I felt like I didn't get a lot of it. And I feel like that's because of how disconnected we've allowed it to become from the culture, where like a book, all you need is like the appreciation for like good conversation, and then you can appreciate a good book, for example. A good movie, you appreciate like a good story, and then you can. But like with dance, there's no like you kind of have to really get into it. You know what I mean? Like you have to spend time getting into it, and like it's obviously very cool to see like people do like those kinds of moves. But I feel like you have to make conscious effort to get into it. Maybe more so, I like think more so than like with other kinds of art forms. Maybe like opera included. Like I don't like I feel like you have to kind of get opera too. But like but I also wanted to like maybe quickly talk about the we were talking about like
Quickly,
culture.
Wait,
Quickly, how much
I
time
just
do we
have like a
4 minutes.
point. Wait,
Yes, yes,
oh,
yes.
Yeah,
sorry.
go
Go ahead,
ahead.
go
You
ahead.
I just
first.
want to say, I feel like dance is, I just like am figuring this out as I'm like
Mhm.
listening to you guys speak, but it could be because dance is like, I don't think it's too niche, or it might be like like a really common,
Yeah.
because I feel like dance is kind of stuck in between these different genres of everything. For example, you could say, oh, these really highly trained dancers could be in like ballet, but you also see everyone dancing like naturally. Not everyone makes film, not everyone makes songs, or not everyone writes books, but everyone does dance like in their lives. You can see it on like TikTok, you can see it when at like prom, or when you're listening to music, everyone just is dancing. And you also can't really decipher if it's like a sport or an art. There's like competitive dancing, there's like some elements in gymnastics where people dance that's like competitive, but there's also really artistic forms of dance, so it's also like stuck between those two like spectrums. And I would also say it's, since it's the least materialistic form of art, because you are expressing it with your body, it's like rooted in like flesh and bone, and you can't really produce that onto like thing you can hold, whereas you can with like paintings or books or like film, you see it on the screen, you can make it into like a MP4 file,
Mm.
songs into an MP3 file, but dancing, it's really just like, that's also how it's the hardest for AI to reach too. So I think it's because it's stuck between all these different genres. You can't really decipher which one it really belongs to. People have a different, like a harder time, like pinpointing what dance really is, and that might contribute to the difficulty it is to like experience that.
Yeah,
I'm
Sorry.
gonna I'm gonna add
no,
on
you're
one
good.
quick sentence
You
to
have to hurry
Vipul.
up.
Okay, okay, yeah. But I agree with kind of like the like it's so interesting that we talk about accessibility to art, but like dance is the most accessible because all you need is your body. Like I
Yeah.
have a friend, her name is Jalen. Shout out to Jalen. She's getting into music. You need to buy a whole bunch of equipment just to like get into that, but get into like producing music and whatnot. But like you, even me, who I say I don't dance, but like a good song comes on, I'm alone in the bathroom,
Yeah.
I'm dancing. You know what I mean? So like it's this universal thing, and yet we don't give it the credit that it deserves or the respect that it deserves. And yeah, that's my thoughts.
I completely agree. But we are out of time. But I think this was a very good
Yeah,
conversation, and I learned a lot. And I hope people will not get distracted by the poor audio quality.
yeah, I hope
Thank you
so.
for being here.
Timothée Chalamet, do
Yes.
better,
Timothée Chalamet, do better.
do better. See,
All
we
right.
hold him accountable.
All right, guys.
All right, thank
Thanks
you.
for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.
Bear with
Shout
us.
out Dance to
Thanks, CJ.
Excess. Check out
Shout out
Bye.
to Access. Come to our
Yes.
showcase. It's free. It's
It's
free.
free.
Tell them when. Tell them when. When is it?
Hurry right now.
The Friday after break.
Awesome.
Boom.
Check out their Instagram
That's
for
it.
details.
All
Boom.
right. Peace out.
Thank you, CJ.